So I promise this is not a gimmick. I'm gonna do a magic trick real quick for you. This is a really freaking awesome pedal, right? This is Dirty Boy Preamp pedal. It's a fantastic preamp pedal. Incredible. You should definitely check it out. But what if we put it into the computer, right? That'd be kind of sick. I'm gonna try some magic. Would you look at that? Let's check it out. What is up, guys? My name is Franco Torres, a guitar player based in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and this is a segment in my channel called Mucho Tone Chasing, which essentially we just tone dive, right? We're looking for tone, we're demoing gear, we're reviewing equipment, we're reviewing plugins, and pretty much just chasing tone everywhere that the guitar might lead us to. And today is a really exciting day because one of my favorite pedals of all time, the Dirty Boy Preamp, actually got put into plugin format, which is freaking awesome. And it's not just a preamp pedal. Almost all of the Dirty Boy pedals got put into the plugin format, including an amplifier, the Silver Boy, which is freaking insane. It's really cool, and this is a really epic collaboration between Dirty Boy and Two Notes. Let's take a listen to it. Let's check out how it sounds. I know how the pedal sounds. Let's actually take a listen to the plugin and actually compare the two, see how they sound against each other. If you can, really get this sound out of there, right? So everything A is the plugin, everything B is the pedal. It's a really close comparison, right? It's you can really dial them in like the pedal. What I like about the plugin is that, of course, you can pair them together, so you don't necessarily need to have all of the pedals. You can just have the plugin and obviously stack them all together and combine them with different things in the actual plugin. You can combine them with some of the Genome's delays, reverbs, the different cabinets in there. You can out of something like this, you can just use a preamp output and use a bunch of the different cabinets in the plugin, which is something that's super cool. On the preamp pedal, of course, you do have the preamp output, so you could potentially do the same thing, connecting this straight into the software. But I mean, if you're playing in the live scenario, right, you've got the output that's emulated. That's mainly what you would use if you're using this as your pretty much amp in a box type pedal. Obviously, in the software, you've pretty much got all the versatility in the world. You can do presets. And speaking of presets, a lot of the sounds in this video are actually going to be a part of the presets within the plugin. So if you do get it, make sure to check them out. I'm going to add all the names down in the comments so you can actually check them out. And Dirty Boy as a brand, if you don't know, most of their stuff dates back to the 90s, made by Alex Saraceno, which is Blues Saraceno's father. He was pretty much making a lot of gear for him, and a lot of that gear got used throughout all of Blues Saraceno's journey as a guitar player, including the early days in Poison, all the way to all of his guitar stuff, and I mean, playing with Ginger Baker from Cream, and I mean, really cool trajectory, right? And now, we've got these pedals back because Dirty Boy exists and they're making pedals and they're making a lot of really cool stuff. Now you can actually get it through the Genome by Two Notes. yeah, let's do a quick dive into the actual plugin, see what you would expect if you do decide to get the Dirty Boy expansion for the 2 Notes Genome, talk about the pedals, and talk about the amplifier and what you're going to get essentially. Let's check it out. Let's hop into the computer screen. Okay, so now we're in my screen. I am within Luna. That's my DAW of choice, and that's what I mainly use to record. Let's kind of go over the Genome software real quick, and then do a dive over what you're actually going to be getting if you do decide to get this, right? We've got these blocks. These are going to be our effects and amplifier blocks. As you can see on this one, I'm mainly just using the Dirty Boy Preamp. Let's go into some of my other presets out here. These are just tests. These are not going to be in the actual preset list, but these are mainly going to be here, right? We've got HSS Crunch Boy, which is my preset of just, I mean, I'm mainly an HSS guy. Some of my guitars that I use the most are HSS, and I love that configuration. And what we're using as a head is the Silver Boy amplifier, right? We've got a gain, structure, bass, variac knob, we've got the middle, treble, and volume. So 3-band EQ, we've got a gain, volume, and the variac. Pretty much just like the pedal, except instead of just having the tone knob, now we've got a 3-band EQ. Now what's cool about the Silver Boy is that the Silver Boy is based out of the same preamp that we already know and have talked about. Now what's cool about it is that it's tweaked a little bit to get it to sound closer to something like a Matchless, like a Vox, something along the lines of those boutique amplifiers, which I think is pretty sweet. And to me that's really exciting because I was mainly using Vox AC30s hand-wired for many years while touring. So to me this is really cool because it kind of like marries a Marshall and a Vox and creates something really cool. So yeah, that's what we're using in this particular preset. We've got the Dirty Boy Germanium, which is a really sweet sounding pedal. It's kind of almost like a, dare I say, overdrive, kind of like fuzzy overdrive. We've got the noise gate activated on here just because, I mean, it's single coils HSS, right? It's going to be noisy. For the cabinet, we're using the Bow Green, and we're just using, standard dynamic 57 and ribbon 121. We're adding a little bit of cotton reverb. We've got the EQ, and we've got the exciter. Now for the next plugin we're going to be checking out, this is the Mucho Fuzz Boy. And yeah, I mean, it's just a lot of fuzz, right? We've got the Afro Fuzz pedal, and the fuzz is just cranked the hell up. We've got the level pretty high, and then the frequency is on number 4. We're using the Dirty Boy, Silver Boy as the amplifier. We're still using the same cabinet, and pretty much everything else is the same, just EQ'd a little bit differently, especially because we're using that Fuzz Boy. And as far as the next plugin goes, this is the Sonic View lead tone. So Sonic View is my band, and I pretty much recreated the sound that I normally use live. And I'm gonna put a section of the solo of one of our songs, It Doesn't Matter. And that way you can kind of like listen to how I use this particular tone. And I mean, ultimately, if you want to try it out, it's also going to be available on here. I'm a huge fan of just being able to have something kind of like almost violin-esque. Now, I am a huge fan of Andy Timmons and Eric Johnson, so my kind of like lead tone is pretty much just me trying to achieve Andy Timmons' tone. So this is kind of like what I'm basing it out of, just with the Dirty Boy stuff, right? We're using the Silver Boy as our amplifier. They're pretty much as a kind of like clean, slightly overdriven, when by slightly, it's 5.5, kind of like gain structure in here. And then we've got the Buzzy Boy, which I love the name, but it actually sounds really cool. It's a really interesting sounding overdrive. We've got the frequency on 3, balance fairly up, and then timbre and fizz all the way up, just because, like I said, I'm trying to go for something violin-esque. So I'm pushing the amplifier hard enough with this. I am using some analog delay, or analog recreation of a delay, the cotton verb, the guitar cue, and the exciter. I am using all of that just because it all sounds fantastic together. It's a really cool sounding preset, I think. And then we've got Mucha Strat tone, which essentially is just me trying to get a like super stratty tone, right? Like what you would expect maybe someone like John Mayer or like John Frusciante to kind of like be playing through, and that kind of sound is mainly what I'm trying to embrace in this particular preset. Let's listen to it again here so you can kind of like again check out how it sounds. Also, you just hear that? That's the Mucho Fuzz preset on bass, and it sounds freaking sick. It's awesome. I love it. It's insane. So as you can probably tell due to the wardrobe changes, it actually took me a couple days and actually a couple of weeks to record the whole thing. There's a lot of guitar playing. There's a lot of me talking. And I've spent the past couple of weeks with the plugin, and I've had the pedal for the past couple of months now. And let's talk about how they compare, right? Because I feel like it's a lot of times when people come out with certain plugins, they don't necessarily compare it to the actual thing. I've been comparing it to the whole thing, and actually you've been hearing both of them. You let your ears kind of like judge which one is which one. I'm not gonna say at this point which one is which one, right? The initial performance with the Strat and the 8-string, there's the pedal is in there in everything, and the plugin is in there in everything. You be the judge and tell me which one is leading on which one. I mean, I can't tell the difference. I mean, I know the difference, obviously, but if you hand me the video and tell me to try to figure it out, they sound pretty much the same, right? And I let them sound just a little bit differently to kind of like try to like have people realize which one is which one, but you can literally get the same sound out of the pedal that you can out of the plugin and vice versa, which is pretty freaking wild. And obviously the plugin does come with the whole suite of the Dirty Boy pedals. So essentially you can pair, mix and match and do whatever you want with them and just get more versatility out of just playing with them online, or rather on your DAW, and just get all sorts of sounds out of it. This is a really exciting collaboration in my opinion. I'm super stoked for everyone to actually get to hear and play them.